The age-old question is an entrepreneur born or made? And this has been a discussion in several circles. So the equivalent question would be, if you look at a musician, is he born or made? I could say, if I teach someone to play piano, and if he practices several hours a day, he would be able to play a pretty decent music, and he'll be able to create music. At that point, is he born or is he made?
Creating entrepreneurs is critical to building jobs and wealth in a nation. Rajesh Nair, a fellow at MIT, taught a center, tried an experiment in a small engineering college in Trivandrum to see if young students, who were never exposed to entrepreneurship in their environment, be inspired and trained to start up companies.
And my research is to see, can we create entrepreneurship systems where students are groomed and trained to take on entrepreneurship very early on. So hopefully they'll actually go out and solve the problems of the nation by themselves. I took that on as my thesis because I felt we could create solutions for different problems, but if we can create people who can go solve the problem, that will be of a much higher value.
Students after their BTech program generally prefer to go for a job or to pursue their master's program. Only very few engineering graduates think about starting a company of their own and turn out as entrepreneurs.
Basically, it's a field study to see what actually triggers an average student, basically a technical student, to take on entrepreneurship as a possible future endeavor and a goal in their life. And can we inspire them? Can we give them enough confidence? And can we even give them a framework where they can build up entrepreneurship, in their life? An innovator has to have experience, so he needs to learn the craft of making things. So a painter has to learn the strokes 1,000 times before he can actually make the art of making a painting. Technical innovator has to learn how to do any kind of projects and make things over and over before he can actually start creating.
The workshop was designed to introduce and train students on innovation, fabrication, and entrepreneurship.
My basic hypothesis is that if you can actually go teach students how to innovate, how to make things, and teach them how to start companies, their attitude would change, attitude towards entrepreneurship. And once the attitude changes, that means they think of startup as a possibility, something that they can actually do.
Self-efficacy is the strength in one's belief that one can achieve something, even if one doesn't have the necessary training and resources. It is the confidence that no matter what challenges may show up, one has the tenacity, strength, and skills to handle it. It is self-efficacy combined with skills to identify a problem or an opportunity with financial potential or social impact, and the experience of creating solutions that builds an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs can be trained and made. The only thing required is the confidence. The confidence to turn the obstacle into an opportunity. The workshop came up with a social experiment with 50 students of all kind and let them go through different training programs focused on innovation, fabrication, and entrepreneurship.
When I talked to my advisor and my professor, he said, go to India, create an experiment that you can test out and see if the result really works. So I created a curriculum and I talked to this college, Marble College, and the principal was very supportive.
Students were selected by Rajesh and about 50 students were selected.
What I did was I wanted to make sure that only people who are really driven, they don't need to know much, but they need to be driven to take this on. So I asked them to make a 1-minute video of themselves explaining why they want to be in this workshop and post it on YouTube and send me the link so I can see.
One day, some of my friends come and talk to me about the workshop. Okay, there is a workshop that is going to be held in our college for 2 months. And this is all about entrepreneurship and fabrication. Everybody asked me why giving it a try. I, being in the civil department, has nothing to do with the workshop. But I just wanted to give it a try. I did it. So that is how it all started.
That's it. I did not ask them, as I said, I did not ask them for their grade or marks or anything like that. solutions. The basic theme for the whole workshop is healthcare or medical issues. So they had to think up of problems, they had to research problems and come up with a list of problems they'd like to look at. And they started creating solutions for them. And they had to go to ideate through multiple solutions, and they had to stand up and pitch. They had to learn how to pitch. In 30 seconds, how do you take a complex idea, break it down into about 5 sentences, and confidently pitch it to talk to somebody. Engineers tend to think in terms of technical terms, but people who are listening, they need to understand the larger concept. So how do you take a technical solution that you're looking at and pitch it from what is the problem you're solving? Why does this problem exist? And how do I solve this problem? And if I solve it, what is the larger impact in the society? The first 2 days, I gave them 2 mini projects. Mini project means they all had to learn 3D CAD, how to do 3D design, mechanical design. And I gave them a LED lamp, I gave them a battery and a switch, and said, go design a torchlight, a flashlight. So they learned, downloaded SketchUp, a 3D CAD, they learned it, they designed something, and I brought 3D printer so they could actually print all these pieces and put them all together, and they realized a lot of things that don't work, and they tried multiple times. And teams made their first, torchlight. And this happened in the first 2 days. So here's a computer science major and a civil engineering major and an electronics engineering major, suddenly realizing that they have done something that is kind of outside what they have ever done before. And that kind of turned on the light in their head, saying this is something they can do. It's something they can actually figure out, learn, and do. And the second mini project I gave was, we gave them a circuit diagram, actually a circuit board design. And they had to make the circuit board. We have the machine to cut out a circuit board, and they had to solder the parts, all surface mount, microprocessor and everything else. And then they had to learn how to program them in C language and write a program that will turn on red, green and blue LEDs, and then turn it on at such a speed and such duty ratio that it can create infinite colors. So again, civil engineer who never was exposed to programming, and computer science major who was never exposed to actually soldering a board, and they all had to go through the same process. And they wrote this thing, and they looked back and said, oh my God, this is something I had never done before, I never thought I could do before, and I've done it. So this is a transformation, that the first level of transformation that they have to go through to realize that, just because something is from a different discipline doesn't mean it is not something you cannot do. They should be able to do that.
First day we came here, he was like, design this model and print it. And we were like, what do you mean print it? We have never used a 3D printer. What do you mean print it? I had heard there is something that prints in 3D. Seeing it for the first time, that was one big, very big moment.
When I first came for this workshop, I did not know what I was going to do, and I thought I would just learn PCB milling and board printing, and finally after 2 months I realized that this workshop was just more than all that.
Took them through the process of innovation, fabrication and basics of entrepreneurship. We went through multiple project cycles, and they have 10 teams of 5 students each right now.
These groups have done 3 different innovative projects after conducting a survey in the area of healthcare.
The kind of projects they're coming out with is amazing, which they never had a chance to do something similar in their curriculum till date.
I think this workshop was more about us than the things we learned.
We were very studious and we don't have any practical knowledge of what we are studying. We just study and just forget it. That's the thing we are doing in our college.
Okay, so usually when you go for the first day, the introduction. This time we came here, first day we went and did stuff.
Set of projects were given to each of the group of students, required them to evaluate the problems, ideate multiple solutions, develop technical products, and learn to pitch their own business plan. They learned to design and print the mechanical parts, to develop the circuit boards, and to program microprocessors. They became confident, and they had that fire in their eyes, that they can.
That was the first time when I actually got introduced to a completely different curriculum or completely different idea as to what we are taught in the colleges here.
We had to do 3 projects and we went through a lot of iterations. We got a lot of training in the technical field and the entrepreneurship field. We had a lot of talks from a lot of people.
When I first heard about this workshop, I wasn't pretty sure whether I wanted to join this or not. Because at that time I was naturally unfocused and I didn't know what to do. I was here as a regular student doing my engineering.
The teams identified worthwhile problems to solve, created solutions, learned to pitch their solution and strategy to investors and government funding agencies. Within a month after the workshop, 2/3 of these 50 students decided to start up their ventures. 6 startups emerged and more are in the process.
I've always felt that if you want to do something, your reason has to be really strong. Now, for a 3rd project, our product is a device to detect apnea. Now I believe in a product. I want to see that on a baby. I want to see that a baby's life is safe and secure because of our product. So my reason now is strong enough because I believe in my product, which is why I've decided that I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to carry this out even after the workshop ends.
Right now I'm focused. I know what to do once I finish college. And right now when I'm in my team, we are planning of starting a startup right now. So that, and once I'm done with my college, we'll go back to our startup and carry forward and try and make a difference that others have not been able to be different from the normal crowd.
After coming to this workshop, the thing that has actually changed in me is the way I see things. I've always wanted to work for a big company and be a good employee, but I've never had the courage to think, okay, I can be the employer and I can start my own business.
If today I'm told to start a company, I wouldn't be hesitant, I can't do it. I'll be like, okay, I can give it a decent try and I can work hard in it, because I'm sure if I work hard, things will obviously work out.
What happened here was we got to work from morning till evening and then through the night. So what happened in our college, this is the first time experience. I never expected the college to be so supportive, but then, I don't know, the principal did a very good job. He was like supporting us throughout.
And we could see that the change in the students is really fabulous. The attitude towards entrepreneurship, the positiveness within them about the starting of a company, and they are now well equipped with how to start a company, from where they will get the finance, whom to be approached, how to ideate, how to convert the idea into a product.
Rajesh sir has motivated us so much that he's given us so much courage that I can just walk out of this workshop and say, okay, I'm going to start a company and I can do it. It's more of that belief and the courage that Rajesh sir and all the other mentors have really put it on us. I'm from electronics background. I learned mechanical. I learned a lot of design, CAD design. I did coding a bit, Android. It's all, so basically you are kind of okay at everything and you get an all-round growth. And I believe this workshop, you get that, and now I can just basically go out there and do what I really want to do. And I'm not afraid of what's going to happen. If I fail, I know that I can just get back up and go for it next time.
Frankly, giving a lot of exposure that I would have never gained in my regular colleges, and I would have really missed out if I hadn't joined this workshop. It was an amazing time, some of the best days of my life.
Today we met the advocate and he introduced the idea of starting a company, and right now everyone is super thrilled because we want to start companies. We've actually had the taste of what it is to start a company. I'm sure this has changed my outlook a lot, because now instead of thinking of a problem as a small thing, I think about the roots of the problem, where all it stretches to, how it affects the people who are involved in the problem. So I do believe entrepreneurship is something that can be taught, and it has definitely taught me a lot.
Right now, I think I have an answer for what I was searching for. After listening to a lot of people over here and all these wonderful things happening here, I think I actually want to start a company.
Today, these students say they have 2 lives. One inside the hall, inside the workshop, where they're given the freedom to think and not draw paint within the lines. they're not coloring within the lines. They can actually go color anywhere. They can actually go expose and go try and fail. And the life outside. Outside there, the society has given them straight lines to color within. Okay, they are forced to do certain things the way it has been done before, and I don't think these students are going to conform to what the society is asking for. They will go change the way society thinks. And as an entrepreneur who's always forced to live his own dream, they will actually go make the change. And I have 50 students who are so inspired today. They want to start their companies. Most of them have given up their thinking for, I want to get a placement, I want to get a desk job, and I want to get a cushy job working for somebody else. They finally realize that they are just the minions working for somebody else's dream, but they want to be the ones with the dream, and hire and employ people who can actually work for them. And that's a transformation that has happened. And that was hardly about 5 weeks of work. The real thing is, can we make this into a formula? Can we make this into a process can we test it over and over and make it into a process that can be repeated? And the whole country, whole nation is looking for, and they need entrepreneurs. Can we inspire other students in the nation to take on something like this? And they, in turn, will change the country.
Right.